Hi everybody, I'm Mike McCrory and this is Would You Make It? I began working on a kitchen renovation for my daughter 5 or 6 months ago, but I never quite finished it. Everything else is in, the cabinets, the countertop, the sink, the appliances. Everything's there except for one cabinet at the end, which is intended to be a pull-out spice drawer. And that's what I'm going to make now. So let's get started. I'll start by cutting the plywood to width. This will form the front and the back and each of the shelves. And then I'll cut the front and the back. Next, I'll use this depth gauge to set the height of the dado blade to cut halfway through the plywood, so 3/8 of an inch. And I'll cut dados in the front and the back to accommodate the bottom and each of the shelves. I'm going to place a strip of 1/2 inch plywood along the edges of the bottom piece, and that will be used to prevent the spices from falling off the bottom shelf. And I'm using a piece of plywood behind this piece to prevent any tear out. Next, I'm using a stop block on my miter gauge to cut the shelves so that they're all the same length. And now, using the 1/2 inch plywood, I'm cutting the strip of wood that's going to be placed along the side of the bottom. I just got this double bevel sliding miter saw from Evolution Power Tools, and I'm using it to cut the 1/2 inch strips of plywood to length. I'll definitely do a more complete review of this saw after I've gained more experience with it. And now I'm cutting a dado along the length of the strips that are going to be attached to the side of the bottom piece. And now it's time to glue everything together. I also have 1/2 inch strips of plywood to connect the front and the back together at the top. And I'll just use a couple of brad nails in each end to hold it together. And then after glue up, I'm just going to spray everything quickly with polyurethane out of a can. And along the shelves that are in the middle, I'm using plexiglass to help improve the visibility of what's being held in the shelf. And I'm using a tapered drill bit that also countersinks the hole, which is perfect for this application. The last thing I need to do is to cut slots into the back of the bottom of the drawer. And I also need to drill 2 holes for the drawer slides because they have little tabs that insert into that hole. Well, I cut the slots for the drawer slides at 5 o'clock in the morning, and in my haste, when I arrived at this house, I realized that I cut them at the top of the drawer rather than at the bottom. Now I'm 2 hours away from home, and I don't have a lot of tools with me, but I do have a jigsaw and a drill. So I'm gonna attempt to cut those slots out on the bottom. It's not a big deal because this is at the back of the drawer, so that will be inside the cabinet anyway. So I've already drilled the holes for the tabs from the drawer slides, but I'm also drilling a couple of pilot holes so that I can insert the blade from my jigsaw. And this was actually pretty easy to cut with a jigsaw. Thankfully I had it with me. And now I'm attaching the drawer slides. These are Bloom self-closing drawer slides. And it fits pretty well. And you can see that it closes automatically. And next I'm attaching the drawer front, and because it's a standalone drawer all by itself, I don't really need to line it up with anything, so I'm just eyeballing it. After I drill the first hole, I insert the screw from the front. And then I can drill the second hole. So this is the finished kitchen. There's the corner cabinet that I made, and here's a link to the video if you haven't seen that. And there are a couple of dishes that I made for a surprise graduation party for my daughter's boyfriend. One last finishing touch that I want to add are motion-activated under-cabinet lights. These are LED lights from a company called Onuo. And I was worried when I received it because they're sold individually as well as in packs of 3. And I ordered the pack of 3, and I thought I received only 1 because they're so small. So this is how tiny they are, and they're really easy to install. You just have to remove this adhesive strip on the back. And this is just a magnetic strip, so it just sticks under the cabinet, and then you can remove the light. And it's rechargeable with a USB charger, so you can plug it into a cell phone charger that you probably have at home or into a computer. So it's as easy as that, and it's easy to remove. You can take it away to charge it, and then just put it back. So I gotta ask, would you make it?